So since vectors have directions, one little trick we like to use is use the north, south, east, west to describe the vectors. Instead of just always drawing these pictures, we might describe them, just having an arrow going up to the right a little bit. Assigning a direction to them using north, south, east, west becomes really, really convenient. So in the first example here, I've asked you to draw vector A, which is 20 kilometers per hour due west. Well, that should be easy enough. We know that west is to the left, and so we just draw a vector. Right now we don't know how long 20 kilometers an hour is, but that's not the point. The point is that it's, you just established that this is 20 kilometers per hour. If you had to draw one that was 10, then it should be about half the size. But the important part is that it's to the left in the west direction. In the second example, I've asked you to draw vector B, and vector B is 35 kilometers an hour northeast. Well, if we look back at our northeast, if you know anything about directions here, northeast means exactly halfway between north and east. So what we can do is draw a vector that is heading off at a 45-degree angle right there and call that northeast. Notice that I tried to make it a little bit longer because it's 35 kilometers an hour as opposed to the 20 kilometer vector A that I drew here. So this one's a little bit longer and calling it vector B. The one way that we can help with this picture is you'll notice that I will draw these little axes along at the beginning of the vectors to help give it direction. Since it's exactly halfway between north and east, that is a 45-degree angle. And later on when we solve questions with these, that little axes will become very, very helpful. Our last example asks for vector C to be 15 kilometers an hour south, 20 degrees east. So I'm going to begin with our small little axes here to help give me a reference. And you'll notice that the south 20 degrees east begins always with north or south, and then describes how many degrees you go in a certain direction. So if I'm considering south 20 degrees east, in my head I'm just going to go, okay, south, and then go in this direction 20 degrees until I get my vector. I'll just erase that, because that's what I was doing in my head, and actually take my tool and draw one that represents approximately 20 degrees. Now, this one's 15, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller than my A, obviously a lot smaller than C, but I'll call this vector C, and it's 15 kilometers an hour. Since it's south 20 degrees east, this angle right in here is 20 degrees. Remember, when describing vectors, always describe it as north or south first, then move to the east or west. I don't want you to say east 70 degrees south. Start with your south and go 20 degrees east.